was a close one, Snake.
Ocelot, you'll pay for that. That Deep Throat's a real enigma. He's definitely from inside their ranks.
Is he an informer? Maybe some kind of renegade? I've got the feeling there's some other force at work here. Looks like the place is protected by infrared sensors. Somehow you'll have to make it past the beams.
moving along. So we have to load on the system. All right, now loaded the module. Now one thing to understand is if it loads the module correctly, it will display the module name, show you the targets that you can change, which in this case is just we have not set anything. All right, now the targets, it's going to display the targets that you're trying to target. And you know, the thing is with different exploits, you can have a lot of different targets. You can specify many targets. All right, and it's really important that you get this right. Now, some other commands that we can use, you know, that can describe, that can give us information about the module or the exploit that we're using, is the show info. All right, the show info will give you information about it'll give you information about the exploit. All right, so as you can see here, this module exploits a vulnerability found in the ActiveX component of the Adobe Flash Player before 12.0.0.43. all right, so again, it's for a specific version and will not work on the latest one. We already knew that, right? That's the trick. Now there's a lot of other commands that you can look at, and one of them is the MSF search. All right, so you can use the search command, and the search command will give you the ability to search and find the module that you need. All right, now you know Metasploit has a lot of modules, and finding the right one is probably the you know, the most important thing, and it can be the most time consuming. So you need to learn how to use the search command. All right, now with the search command, it comes with some very important keywords. The search command comes with the keywords like the platform. All right, so this is to target or to search for the platform specifically. You then have the type. All right, this will give you the type of module, for example, exploits, payloads, as we already discussed. You then have the name, and this is if you're searching for a specific name. Right, so we can do this very nicely right now. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna Control C. Whoops, let me just exit this. All right, so I'm going to start the MSF console again just to show you how this would work. All right, so I'm going to start that up again, and let's just give it a few seconds, and I'm going to show you how to do this. All right, so as I said, using the search command allows you to search for exploits, so that's great. And then we'll be looking at the other ones. Right, so let it start up. Really sorry about the slow startup times. Again, you know, just bear with me. It should start up. There we are. All right, so as I was saying, the most important one is the search. Right, so if we search, it's very simple. So search, type. All right, so that's the keyword type. The type is going to be an exploit. We're going to search for the same one. So type exploit, it is an exploit. The platform was Windows. The platform was Windows and Flash. All right, so if we search for that, whoops, my bad, pardon me guys, my typing today is there we are. All right, and it's going to give us all of these options. Now the correct one that we want is probably the first one. It's going to lie up here, and there's a lot of them that you can use or that we can use. You know, some of them they're sorted with their date, and this allows you to, you know, specify or to get one that works. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we need to set. All right, now when I'm saying set, that allows you to set a specific it allows you to set the specific payload or the exploit that you're trying to use. In this case, we can, you know, you can just use the first one because I don't want to go through all of these ones. There's a lot that you can use over here. And as you can see, this is the one that we were using previously, the exploit, the AVM2. It's a very popular one at some given time. So we're going to say set. All right, and I'm just going to paste that in there. There we are. And whoops, set option. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Apologies. All right, so we have to use the use, and whoops, and I'm going to paste that in there. Use, there we are. So that's the module that we were using, and then we use the set to set the options. So we can say show options, like so, and we have the options here. And then to set the specific options, what you just do is you use things like, let's say if you wanted to set the server port. So usually this set srv server, right, and we'll set that to 80, right, and that will set it to 80. We can then say we can set other things like we can set a lot of other stuff, and once you're all set, so let's say we could say set the server host to something like set the server host, then that's going to be the host IP, so srv host, all right, to something like 192.168.0.1. Of course, this doesn't make any sense because I'm not really targeting a system. And you will also set, and then if you say show options again, as you can see, it's going to show you the options that you did set, which we set were the server host and the server port. And once you're ready to exploit, once you've set all the options, all you have to do is just hit exploit, and it will exploit it perfectly, right? So let's try that right now. And of course, it's not going to give us anything, right? Because we've not done anything. So if I hit exploit, it's going to hit exploit, and it's probably not going to return anything important here, right? So just give it a few seconds, right? Again, as you can see, it's not displaying anything because there we are. All right, so it did start a reverse TCP handler on this IP using the port 44444, all right, but we're not going to get anything out of that really right now. I'm pretty sure of that, right? All right, so once that's done, once you're done exploiting, or in this case, as you can see, we have not really exploited anything. We can just, let me just close this. There we are, and we're done. Now, the last commands that I want to show you are the exit or the back command, which takes you a step back, and you can use the exit command to exit the Metasploit or the MSF console framework. All right. And these are, or that is all the basics that I needed to cover in the first video. Now in the next video, we're going to be looking at some really advanced stuff. So we're going to be looking at the module types. We'll be looking at performing reconnaissance, the Armitage GUI, and we'll be looking at exploiting some Windows systems. And then finally, we'll be building our own custom payloads with the MSF Venom framework or interface. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you found value in this video, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on my social networks. For the documented article or the documented version of this video, check out my website, hsploit.com. Link will be in the description, and you can also get this on my application. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace. Hey guys, Hackersploit here, back again with another video, and in this video we're going to be looking at modules in Metasploit. So this is part 2 of the Metasploit series, or the Metasploit course, and in this video we're going to be looking at modules. So as we touched upon in the previous video, we looked at what modules are very basically, and the purpose of that video was to take you through the interface and get you comfortable with using Metasploit. Right, but now it's time to understand what each of the components are. Again, that'll give you a better understanding of how they all work. And as we already know, if you understand something, you can get to use it much better than if you just, zoomed over some of the concepts and some of the real core functionality of Metasploit. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start up. I'm back on Kali, by the way. So some of you guys thought that I was actually sticking with Parrot. I like to keep things a little bit different here and there. So MSF console, I'm going to just start off with that and let the framework load. Again, I'm running this on a virtual machine, so resources are not going to be the best right now. But while that's starting up, I want to explain a few things. Now, as I mentioned, all right, when the Metasploit console opens, it gives you some options, right? And it'll show you the types of modules. Now, the types of modules are like the auxiliary, the payloads, the exploits, the encoders, the NOPs, all right? So there are 6 of them, and one of them is the post, all right? So in total, you have your exploits, your payloads, your auxiliary, your encoders, and your post and your NOPs, all right? Now, looking at the architecture, Metasploit, again, it's very, very, very important that you understand this. Looking at the architecture, the basic structure is that modules are categorized into 6, which you've already mentioned: the exploits, payloads, auxiliary, encoders, post, and NOPs. And then that is then superseded by the MSF console, or the Metasploit console or framework, and then it is superseded then by the core, and then finally by the Rex in terms of the libraries. So to put this into the interface, to put it into sense when it comes down to interfaces, you have your GUI and Armitage, you then have your command line interface, and then finally your console. So I hope you get that in terms of the architecture. All right. Now, something very, very important to understand is to understand where the modules are stored. All right. So we can just go, open a new terminal here. Hopefully that lets me open it up right now. All right. So new window. Again, bear with me. The speed could be a bit of an issue, but don't worry about it. I'll sort that out in probably the next videos. It won't be this slow. For some reason, it's really, really lagging out right now. All right. So what I'm going to do now is let me just zoom in so we can have a better picture of what's going on here. All right. So now, most of the time, or all of the time, should I say, the Metasploit modules are stored in the user and the share folder, right, or the shared folder, share, and again, Metasploit framework. Whoops, now let me just complete that. Metasploit framework. All right, now again, that's a directory. Now you might be wondering what lies in here. Well, the modules lie in here. All right, so if I list all the files in here, as you can see, we have an interesting bunch of files. The one we're targeting is going to be the modules folder right here, right? Because that's another way of accessing the currently installed modules or the used modules, right? So let's go into that folder. If we list the files in here, as you can see, it's further divided into the 6 categories that I mentioned earlier. We have our auxiliary, encoders, exploits, NOPs, payloads, and post, right? Very, very interesting. You might be asking, what do we do now? Now, the point here is I was trying to explain the directory, the file directory structure, and how it's really sorted out. Okay, now the modules, the directory contains the 6 subdirectories, all right, which then contain different type of module sorted into what you see. All right, now let's start off with the exploits, right? The exploits usually are used for exploitation, that's very easy to understand. These are modules that were created for you to take advantage of an exploit or a vulnerability in a system. Okay, so let's see what we have in exploits. So I'm just going to go into exploits right now. CD exploits. If I list that, as you can see, these are the current exploits that you have sorted out in terms of the operating system or the target operating system in which there is a vulnerability. So, for example, you have Apple iOS, Android, Firefox, FreeBSD, Linux, you have your Solaris, Unix, Windows, and obviously Mac OS X. All right. So as you can see, this lists everything really, really well. Let me just list that correctly. I wanted to list everything. There we are. All right. So as you can see, they're listed into further subdirectories, which are sorted in terms of their operating systems. Now we'll be looking at, again, these are just meant specific to the operating system you're trying to target. So if I was to try to target Windows, and I list what's in here, as you can see, you're going to have a lot of other files, and the again further subdirected into their different forms of vulnerabilities. Like you could exploit the Oracle, PostgreSQL proxies, the firewall, etc., etc. You get the idea. So exploits are used to take advantage or to exploit a vulnerability in a system, right? That's one type of a module. Now, I'm going to back out and I'm just going to clear that, and let's look at what other modules that we have. The other modules that we have are the payloads, all right? Or you can go into the encoders, but let's look at payloads first, all right? So payloads, these are files that are left on the exploited system, all right? And basically speaking, what they allow you to do is they give the attacker access or control over the system, right? Now, these are usually called rootkits well, most of the time they're really separated from each other. So basically not all payloads are rootkits, and simply put, payloads allow the attacker to own the system, all right, in which they are left in. So let's see what we have in the payloads folder, right? CD payloads, and if I list all the files there, as you can see, you have your single stages and the stages. So let's see what we have inside each of these directory. Now, as I've said, they've been divided further into 3 directories. Singles are these are small, well, I don't know how to explain it to you. These are like these small pieces of code, or I don't want to say exploits. They're usually designed, to take like one single action.